Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Rosa, you can call me Dr. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the heart and the cardiovascular system. So let's get right to it. So the cardiovascular system, that indispensable system that gets blood all around our body. So we all know someone who has been diagnosed with some sort of issue regarding the cardiovascular system. However, most people only have kind of a vague idea as to what the cardiovascular system is, what's composed of, how it works, and what illness can occur if something goes wrong in the system. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. First off, the cardiovascular system is composed of the heart, the arteries and the veins, which are the vasculature, and the lungs. Side note, although the lungs are not technically part of the cardiovascular system, the lungs play a very important role in the end goal of this of the work of this system. Now, let's start by the heart and the lungs. But to be able to understand it a bit better, I want you to think of how the water system in your house works, all the piping and everything. The heart. The heart is essentially the pump that makes your blood flow all around your body. The lungs are the suppliers of oxygen and the filters for carbon dioxide. And this is very similar to how a pump gets water to your house and a filter gets clean water to your house. Now, to be able to get that water to your house, you need piping, you need tubing of different sizes to be able to, for example, flush your toilet, take a shower, open the faucet. Well, our arteries and our veins work in the similar manner, taking oxygen and nutrients all to our tissues and taking carbon dioxide and toxins away from our tissues. Now, what's the difference between the arteries and the veins? Well, the difference between the arteries and the veins is that the arteries are what we call a high pressure system that takes blood away from the heart and to the tissues in the same manner that water goes from the pump onto your house. While the veins are a low pressure system that take blood from the tissues onto the heart in the same way that your sewage piping gets water from your house back to the treating plant. Now, how does the heart work and how are the lungs involved? So the heart, to be able to pump blood around the body, it needs to contract. Now, to be able to do that, it relies on some special cells that push some electrical impulses all around the heart that make it beat and contract in a rhythmic manner. And this is what we call the heart rate. And the heart rate for a normal heart and a normal person is anywhere between 60 and 100 beats per minute. And the heart is then divided in two parts. You have the right heart and you have the left heart. Now, starting by the right heart takes or receives blood from the rest of the body onto the right side of the heart, and the right side of the heart pumps that blood into your lungs or into your filters. Now, in the lungs, your blood works like as if it were kind of a transport truck in which it unloads the carbon dioxide to be excreted by the lungs, and it takes oxygen from the lungs onto the blood to transport it to the rest of the tissues. Now, after the lungs, the blood moves from the lungs to the left side of the heart, and we get to the left side. The left side is then in charge of pushing that blood, receiving it from the lungs, and pushing that blood out onto the rest of your body and your tissues. Now, as the blood moves out of the heart, it gets transported through, well, the arteries, as we talked previously, moving and flowing through the arteries onto the rest of your body, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every part of your body and your tissues, down to the smallest blood vessels called capillaries, which are the ones that when you press down, they kind of blanch and they turn back pink. Now, once they get to the capillaries and those teeny tiny blood vessels, then they start to enter into the venous system. And before we continue to the venous system, I want to make something clear. However, to be able to move the blood all the way through our body, I told you it's a high pressure system. So the heart must have the appropriate pressure to be able to move that blood efficiently throughout your entire body. This is in the same manner that the pump that gets water to your house must exert the adequate amount of pressure for you to be able to flush the toilets, take a shower, or even get water out of your faucet when you open it. This blood pressure must be just right. It can't be too high, it can't be too low. I already mentioned that if you don't have enough blood pressure or enough pressure on your heart, body, arteries, in the same way that a pump doesn't, if a pump doesn't have much pressure, it won't get water to you. Then if you have low blood pressure, it won't move the blood adequately and your tissues won't get the nutrients they need. Now, on the other hand, if you have too high of a blood pressure, that means that there's a lot of pressure kind of pushing back on for the blood to kind of move. So in the same way that in your house, if there's a lot of pressure, water pressure, it can bust one of the pipings and rupture the tubing. Similar can happen, and certain diseases can occur if the pressure is too high on the body. Moving back to the veins. Well, once they move from the capillaries and start heading their way onto the veins, as we said, it's a low pressure system. So the blood is sort of pushed along with the blood that comes from the back. It gets pushed along all the way back to the heart and it completes its cycle. Now, diseases of the cardiovascular system occur when there's a problem with the veins. And if, for example, you have varicose veins, you have pressure with the arteries, and one of the most common issues is what we call hypertension or high blood pressure, or you have a problem with the pump, your heart, which can lead to, for example, if it's kind of too tired, too damaged, it can lead to what's called congestive heart failure. Now, finishing on a fun fact. Well, in the arteries, you've heard that the blood is bright red. Well, in fact, this is true. The blood in the arteries is bright red because oxygen, there's a lot of oxygen in that blood. So oxygen is the one that gives blood its very rich red color. Whereas in the veins, once a lot of the oxygen has been distributed, it gets kind of a bluish tinge to the blood. So this is all for today. If you're interested in learning more about the cardiovascular system, I've left the link down in the description. Also, if you have any sort of questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It means a lot. Until the next video, I wish you a happy and healthy life.